Hello guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to share my thoughts and experiences of this somewhat less known amplifier, at least in the US. This is the Croft Phono Integrated amplifier from Croft Acoustics, made in the United Kingdom. This amp caught my attention from a stereophile review written back in 2013 by one of my favorite stereophile reviewers, Art Diddley. In that review, John Atkinson published measurements of this amp on his test bench, and the unit simply did not measure well at all, according to how he designed and conducted the tests in stereophile. But Art, Stephen, and Sam, the reviewers from Stereophile magazine, simply loved the performance of this little amplifier and continued to write glowing reviews about the Croft Phono Integrated even after the test results were published. So since reading those reviews, I have been really curious about the Croft Phono Integrated. So finally, after all these years, I've had a chance to review one. I have been listening to it almost every day for a month now, and it's time to share my opinion of this amp with you. So a little bit about Croft Acoustics. Glenn Croft is the man behind this hi-fi company, and it seems he's been making tube amps for the past 32 some years. And what's really cool about the units from Croft are they're all hand-built by Glenn Croft himself, supposedly. This unit is a hybrid tube integrated with ECC 83 or 12AX7 tubes in the preamp section and MOSFETs for the output gain stage. And if you look up Croft Acoustics on Google, you will come across his website, and it hasn't been updated since 2015. Anyway, this amp is available new for $1,700 USD. This seems to be a promotional price, as it looks like it's on sale. Regular price is $1,900 USD. In the UK, it sells for $935 GBP. And this amp doesn't have even the most basic of conveniences. No remote control. Dual volume pots, as you can see here. And the volume knobs are not even marked or notched so as to give you that haptic feedback. You have to eyeball them for equal gain on each channel independently. If you have one knob up a little more than the other, you will hear one channel louder, and it's a pain sometimes to return back to the unit and tweak the other knob till you hear left and right channels balanced in terms of gain. And get this, no user manual even comes with the unit. That's because you don't need one. The amp is as simple as it gets. No frills design. But I must say it has an understated, tasteful simplicity and elegance to its build quality. Internally, it houses a decent-sized toroidal transformer. And as mentioned earlier, this is a tube hybrid integrated. There are two 12AX7 or ECC 83 tubes, one for each channel for the phono stage. There is a third 12AX7 for the line stage. The stock tubes that come with the amp are JJ Slovakia. I have not rolled new old stock Mullards or CV 4004s or ECC 83s that I own. They add significant cost to the unit. So this review is done bone stock condition with the JJ tubes. For the output stage, there are two MOSFET output transistors per channel. Published power rating is 45 watts at 8 ohms and 50 watts at 4 ohms. The back side of this amplifier is very simple too. First input is the moving magnet only phono input with the grounding screw nearby. We have three line stage inputs marked line 1, 2, and 3. The fourth RCA is a line out. By the way, the quality of the RCA jacks installed on here are really high quality. One set of speaker terminals, a detached IEC inlet. That's it. It's super simple. Nothing to it at all. Super simple as they come. Some might be put off now and say, wait a minute, 1900 USD or 1700 USD if it's on sale, and this is all I get. For those of you thinking that, don't be in such a hurry to judge. This amp is an absolute darling when it comes to sonics. Let me elaborate on that a little bit. I use the unit to power my Splendor Classic 3.1s in my smaller listening room. Also used it to power the big B&W Matrix 801 S2 speakers in my larger 9,500 cubic feet basement setup. I mainly use the built-in Phono. Carts used were the Artefan 2M Black. I also use the Koetsu Black moving coil using a step-up transformer going into the moving magnet phono input of the Croft Integrated. Now onto music. This LP is called Two of a Kind by Earl Klug and Bob James. And you can see the sticker here. I got it for $3 some very long time ago at the local record store. First track here is called The Falcon. The track begins with Bob James' keyboard piano. And then this electroacoustic guitar pluck by Earl Klug just simply stuns you. The attack and sweetness of the tone of the guitar, unusually pleasant and very addictive sound. So you just simply have to listen to the whole album now and rediscover all other Earl Klug and Bob James albums. That's pretty much what happened to me during that listening session. So still staying with the album, the third track is called Sandstorm. The track begins with a solid bass drum kick and bass strings and Bob James's keyboard. The punch from the bass drum kick and bass plucking of the strings sounds full and rich, voluptuous and intoxicating. Same with the electroacoustic guitar strings. Same with the soundscapes that Bob James's keyboard playing was painting. 3D spatial rendering with warm yet detailed sound. Very, very satisfying. Immensely addicting. This amp had me arrested to my listening room going through my vinyl collection. Another such example is this new LP by Ron Carter called Foresight, Stockholm, with Renee Roseness on piano, Jimmy Green on saxophone, and Peyton Crossley on the drums. First track is called Caminando. Begins with standing bass lines and bass drum and cymbal taps prepping you for the musical treat that's about to come from this track. From the time the track begins, from the time I dropped the needle, I was so impressed with the weight of the bass lines, sweetness and air from the cymbal rides. And when Renee Roseness begins playing the piano, wow. This amp isn't only about weight and sweetness. It conveys timing superbly well too. Jimmy Green on saxophone again sounds really sweet without sacrificing nuances and subtle detail, and has speed. How does it fare with vocals? I spun Monica Sutherland, Bill Evans, Waltz for Debbie. Absolutely silly, stupid good. Again, voices sound immensely enjoyable. The presentation is just beautiful. How does it fare with rock music? I spun Supertramp, Brother, Where You Bound. Yes, turning up the volume even in a bigger room with bigger speakers like the B&W 801 S2s, and the amp did pretty well with rock music. It retained its weighty and sweet demeanor. Now note that though the B&W Matrix 801S2s are big speakers, but they're actually relatively an easy load. They never dip below 4 ohms. So in conclusion, the built-in moving magnet phono of this amplifier is simply awesome. What you're paying for, besides the import taxation, is the sweet, comfortable, easily lovable, and inviting sound that draws you into listening for hours and hours on end. Now, this isn't perfect by any means. My Wired for Sound STI 1000 Class D integrated amp simply demonstrated more control and definition in the bass region. More heft. It brought more heft to the bass, but it couldn't touch the Croft sweetness in the mids and the highs. This sounds like a well-controlled tube amplifier. From memory, the Riga ELXR retails for about $1,700 USD. I think that amp too had more bass heft, but the Croft simply nailed the sweetness in the mid-range and the high frequency, and painting a cohesive picture for you. The Croft did equally well with detailed reproduction though. So if you like the kind of sonic signature I've described and have speakers that are not very demanding as far as current, and they're relatively a benign load, you will probably really dig this unit. I'm having so much fun listening to this. In the stock condition, I have not tube rolled. I don't even plan to, I think. I'm just loving it. I'm extremely satisfied with it because of my listening preferences. That's the end of this review, guys. I hope you liked it. I was really excited to share this little known gem, at least in the US, of an integrated amplifier. Please, if you would, like, subscribe, and click the bell notification button so you get notified whenever I upload my videos. More interesting content to come. See you soon. Until next time, thank you.